हेलो हेलो हेलो, नमस्कार दोस्तों। मैं हूं आपका मित्र विवेक बजाज, स्टॉकेज और ईलन मार्केट्स का को फाउंडर। दोस्तों, शेयर बाजार के अंदर में आप सब जानते हैं दो तरह के लोग होते हैं। एक जिन्हें पैसा बनाना है और एक जिन्हें पूंजी बनानी है। Friends, we know that in stock market there are two kind of people, one who wants to make money and one who wants to generate wealth. Now, long term sustainable thing is if we think of creating wealth. Wealth create करने के तरीके बहुत डिफरेंट है, पैसे बनाने के तरीके बहुत डिफरेंट है। दिन भर मार्केट में भाव को ऊपर नीचे देखने का तरीका जिससे पैसे बनता है वो बहुत अलग है, और शांति से रिलैक्स होके वेल्थ क्रिएटिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज में पैसे डाल के भूल जाने का तरीका बहुत अलग होता है। इस वीडियो में, इस नए फेस टू फेस के अंदर में मैं आपको वेल्थ क्रिएशन के ऊपर में फोकस करूंगा और आपको बताऊंगा मेरे गेस्ट के माध्यम से कि शेयर बाजार में मल्टी बैगर्स या टर्न अराउंड अपॉर्चुनिटीज के थ्रू कैसे आप लंबा वेल्थ क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। दोस्तों, वेल्थ क्रिएशन की जहां बात आती है वहां पर 1 साल 2 साल का एक्सपीरियंस से शायद वेल्थ ना क्रिएट हो पाए। इसके लिए थोड़ा लंबा चलना पड़ता है, लंबा देखना पड़ता है, तब जाके समझ में आती है कि हाँ, आपने एक परसेंटेज रिटर्न अपने कैपिटल का जनरेट किया है जो वेल्थ के रूप में कन्वर्ट हुआ है। मेरे साथ जो आज गेस्ट हैं, इनका मार्केट में बहुत रिच एक्सपीरियंस है, काफी साल से मार्केट में इन्वॉल्व है, अलग अलग कैपेसिटी में मार्केट में इन्वॉल्व है, काफी पढ़े लिखे हैं। और मैं कह सकता हूं कि मुझे जिन्होंने इनको रेफर किया था वो इनके बारे में बहुत कन्विंस्ड है, और मैं भी इनसे जब बातचीत किया तो मुझे समझ में आया कि ये बहुत सही इंसान है जिनसे बात करनी चाहिए शेयर बाजार से वेल्थ कैसे क्रिएट करे इसके बारे में। तो मेरे गेस्ट आज के लिए इस फेस टू फेस में हैं राकेश लोरिया। राकेश,
Hi Vivek, how are you?
हेलो। वेरी नाइस राकेश, गुड टू सी यू। बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है आपको देख के।
Yes, same here. I just want to congratulate you on what kind of effort you are putting to educate people. It's a tremendous job you are doing. Hats off to you.
राकेश भाई, बेसिकली क्या है कि एक एक पाथ पकड़ा है और वो कारवां में लोग जुड़ते जा रहे हैं और आप जैसे लोगों से कनेक्ट हो रहा हूँ, दोस्ती हो रही है, तो मुझे तो बहुत ही मजा आ रहा है। और आपके बारे में बहुत सुना है राकेश भाई। जैसे कि मैंने कहा था अभी इंट्रोडक्शन में कि किसी ने मुझे रेफर किया था और वो आपके बारे में इतनी बड़ाई कर रहे थे, और मैंने आपसे जब बातचीत की तो मुझे समझ में आ गया कि आपके अंदर में एक स्ट्रेंथ है, एक सब्सटेंस है, और आप बहुत कुछ दे सकते हैं हमारे यूजर्स को। सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर एक्सेप्टिंग दिस इनविटेशन एंड बिकमिंग पार्ट ऑफ दिस।
So it's my pleasure. Anytime you will call me, I will be here. Anytime. Yeah.
सो स्वीट ऑफ यू, सो स्वीट ऑफ यू। सो राकेश भाई, आपको लोग मल्टी बैगर स्पेशलिस्ट या टर्न अराउंड स्टोरी स्पेशलिस्ट बोलते हैं। क्या आप कुछ ऐसे ऐसे स्टॉक सही टाइम पे निकाल पाए हैं जिन्होंने काफी अच्छा वेल्थ क्रिएट किया है? अपने कुछ एग्जांपल्स भी लेंगे ये डिस्कशन के अराउंड में। एक डिस्क्लेमर देता हूं दोस्तों कि राकेश भाई का स्टडी खुद का स्टडी है, ये पूरी तरीके से उस स्टडी को आपके साथ में नॉलेज को शेयर करेंगे। बट देखिए, जो स्टॉक आइडियाज वो बता रहे हैं ये इनकी स्टडी से निकाले हुए हैं, आपको खुद का स्टडी भी करना पड़ेगा। ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि इन्होंने जो बोल दिया आप कल जाके वो स्टॉक्स को ले लिए, ऐसा मत करिएगा। तो राकेश भाई, प्रोसेस जानना बहुत जरूरी है। आउटकम तो सब बता देते हैं बट प्रोसेस को कोई प्रॉपरली नहीं समझाता है। तो इस वीडियो में हम आपसे पूरा प्रोसेस समझेंगे, आप कंजूसी मत कीजिएगा, जितना आप हमको
Yeah,
दे सकते हैं आप देखिए दीजिएगा।
yeah, sure. We are here. वो कहते हैं ना कि MBA में कि you have come in this life, you have to give it back to the society. So
या
nobody is going to take anything with himself or herself when he dies. So it's all about sharing, discussion, and that's it. I say.
सही बात है, सही बात है। सो इसके पहले कि मैं आपके साथ में टेक्निकल डिस्कशन करूं, बिफोर आई गो टू दैट पार्ट ऑफ द डिस्कशन, माय व्यूअर्स दे वुड लव टू नो अबाउट यू, योर बैकग्राउंड, हाउ you have reached where you are right now, your family. Tell us everything very briefly about you and then we go to the technical discussions.
So basically, I belong to Punjab. Right now, I stay in Chandigarh. I was born and brought up in a small town called Jalandhar in Punjab. Uh, like this all happened in the year, you can say 94, 95, when my brother, elder brother, was doing MBA from Punjab University, Chandigarh. He had one of his friend, I will just say he is my mentor. Like he used to come to our home. And I was barely in 10th standard, and he used to tell me, Rakesh, India has got a lot of potential. India is this, that, and the kind of reforms Mr. Manmohan Singh has done, this is time to be in the markets. And I thought, what market? I was not knowing anything. So that was the phase. He told me that at least अपने घर पे इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स 2 रुपए का अखबार है वो स्टार्ट करो और थोड़ा सा जस्ट स्टार्ट हैविंग द फील क्या है कैसे है. So I may be too young that time, and I started reading that newspaper, and I remember going with him to some investors or trading clubs. Like at that time, there was no evolutionary exchange, and there used to be some clubs where they used to exchange certificates and all. So that like वो feel और flavor तब आना लग गया था. And when I joined my engineering, I did engineering from Thapar Institute, Patiala. So उस time I remember I told my warden कि मुझे economic times चाहिए, and I was the only guy जिसने economic times पूरे कॉलेज में स्टार्ट की. एंड उसी टाइम से like I started reading that paper. Even my seminars used to be on stock market. My professors helped me. And after graduation, I went to Amsterdam, Holland, where I got placed, and I was in IT distribution. So I used to spend 80% of time trading whatever little knowledge I had of the markets. And that time markets may not be that matured, and IT boom had just ended. Uh, but that corporate experience gave me good knowledge of HR things, supply chain management, and people handling and all. So due to some family reasons, I had to come back. In 2005, I came back to India in the same company. They were setting up their Indian operations. So from that European experience, I had gained some Indian experience of Indian economy used to operate in very different models. So धक्का भी लगाना पड़ता है, कुछ करना पड़ता है. But yes, India had a potential. जो consumer or population India की है, you can't beat anybody, right? So, and meantime, through some connections or network connections, you can say, I joined one of the broking companies in India since I didn't had any prior financial experience. So that was a milestone in my life. I joined that company. I had given a mandate to train relationship managers and guide people what to buy, what not to buy. And so I spent 5 years there. Along with that, I developed my skills of reading balance sheets, reading companies. Wherever I used to go, I used to see the labels on the products. Okay, which company is making this, and what is their global connection, local connection, and the potential, and promoter background and all. So some basic instinct or some fire in me started igniting कि यार इसमें ही कुछ करना है. And in 2006-07, when real estate boom was about to catch or starting, so land bank एक स्टोरी बहुत फेमस हो रही थी इंडिया में कि लैंड बैंक यूनिटैग ये वो सब है. So I thought that this can be a big trigger. And you will not believe whatever little money I had, I invested 90% in Unitech at that time. So that company, no doubt, from 10 crore market cap went to 1 lakh crore market cap. And I may be lucky, I was lucky, you can say, that exited at 14,000, that stock. Maybe I got at 400, 500 odd levels. So that was the initial capital I made. And luckily in 2007-8, I survived that carnage due to some of my global connections or my friends there. They told me that these toxic derivative things in US will kill all the global markets and economy will not be reviving for the next 3-4 years. तो वो एक पैसा मैंने कंजर्व किया, सेव किया कि अगला जो अपना ग्रोथ फेज आएगा उसमें हाउ टू स्पेंड दैट. So that time, since I was in broking, I saw people lost whole of the wealth. लोगों को हमने notices भेजे कि भाई पैसा आपसे recovery करनी है या कैसे है. Since like we were not able to recover, but the thing is that was a lesson. Human psychology part reading is what I gained there. कि लोग कब panic button दबाते हैं, panic button दबाने पे that is a time to buy. लोग कब over bullish हो जाते हैं, like we saw in Reliance Power IPO, and there were lines outside of all the 15-20 branches I used to handle of 150 RMs used to be hungry for that IPO application. So that was the peak of the market, and whatever we saw after that, everybody knows. So a human psychology part plays a very critical role in investing. कि लोग क्या सोचते हैं कि everybody is bullish on that stock, maybe that is a time to exit, right? And if in a down cycle everybody says no, that stock has come down from 200 to $20 and the story is over, but you know that the company has got some basic intrinsic value, and it can perform well in the next upcoming cycle. So that is a time to buy. So this is what happened in the recent pandemic also, what we saw. So in 2014 I left my job. I thought let's do full-time stuff, and since I made some basic security level money what I wanted in my life. So I joined MBA in University of Chicago. It's #1 in finance. So I had a great experience there. I also interacted with Raghuram Rajan, our ex-RBI governor. So he's a faculty member. So in that MBA, I gained experience of Asia. We had a campus in Hong Kong. We had a campus in London. So European experience, and then obviously US experience. So that gave me a very broader picture of what's happening globally. Networking skills, like come to know, okay, what's happening latest in worldwide, and that is what I am able to put my whole focus on India within those themes. So अगर IT में boom US में आ रहा है, तो India में obviously आज नहीं तो कल आएगा और आया. So this is what we saw rating in the IT company recently. चाहे उनका top line नहीं भी बढ़ी हो, तो bottom line we have seen in the last 2 quarters सबका बढ़ा है. Reason is cost cutting due to pandemic, people sitting at home, and PE re-rating. Agar you are getting IT companies at 12 to 15 PE right now, they are upwards of 20, 25 or even 30 PE also. So when I came back, then obviously I was full of force within me. Okay, I need to do much more now, and luckily in the last 4 or 5 years, everybody is everybody has made good money. And the only thing is what differentiates between you and a normal guy is how well you are able to identify the multi-baggers. So like our philosophy is like 25% money you need to keep into compounders, like maybe like so HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank जो है आज की डेट में अगर उसकी लोन बुक X है, तो ऑब्वियसली अगर हम जीडीपी कह रहे हैं कि इंडिया की डबल हो सकती है अगले 2-3 साल में, तो उसकी लोन बुक 3 times हो सकती है, right? And it is see in this after the pandemic, this is the only bank which is nearing to its all-time highs of 1300 odd levels, roughly it's around 1240. So it went up from 730 odd levels. So when I came back, we started an advisory along with managing our portfolios. And yes, you have to be very sharp, focused. So I will just say you have to be having some kind of thrill within you. You have to have some kind of focus. अगर मैंने करना है, कुछ करना है, मल्टीबैगर ढूंढना है, पैसा बनाना है, you only need focus. Then we will discuss later on how that focus has to come और क्या करना है.
बहुत सही. So your career is quite a wish list for a lot of people. The way it has evolved, you made money and you exited Unitech at the right time. That was actually quite a surprising thing, because that is one stock which has led to large scale wealth destruction in India. But I'm very glad that you exited, and we have to learn this art of exiting the stock at the right time from you. But uske baad mein your advanced education, and then you are doing it independently, not joined any organization after your MBA from Chicago, and now working on your own. That's quite inspiring. So let's proceed. Let's get some insights from you in terms of how you are able to remain happy with your multi-cap investments and make money from market consistently. So let me, I think, yeah. So you can probably start.
So I think so. As a lot of retail investors are watching, I will just tell you the basic recipe, how I started, how you can start, and you can do it, right? So initially, when I used to have time in my career or my job, like you need not leave your job initially, right? So simple hai, like bscindia.com, we know the website, right? You just need to scroll down that website, just see, it's a very wonderful website. So all the results that come, you just need to scan all those results. So I just jumped on this. Initial first step is to read the Economic Times. So that is one recipe. Just enroll for Economic Times and just read the basic headline, not full story, for 1 month. And within 1 month, you will start having the flavor of the economy, global economy, Indian economy, which sector. अगर नेस्ले ने नया प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च किया है, पास्ता लॉन्च किया है, रेडी टू मेक, रेडी टू ईट, and you will come to know कि हाँ भाई where I am heading, where I my thought process in 1 month has changed by reading just the headlines. Indian GDP growth this, Malaysia GDP growth is this, whatever is that. So right from GDP to sectors to brokerage upgrades or downgrades, what we see, just read the headlines, that's it. No need to watch any channel for whole day, just that basic thing. And then end of the day, you just need to scan the results which have come throughout the day. So in the end of the BSC website, we get the announcements. Just scroll, just spend 10 minutes and just you will come to know what is happening. And once this stage is over, there are other tools you can use, right? लोग कहते हैं कि हमें पता नहीं लगता कि कंपनी के अंदर क्या हो रहा है, क्या नहीं है. Now everything is so accessible, right? After you read the announcements, after you read the results, scan the results, okay, balance sheet आपको नहीं भी आती, it's fine, like layman को नहीं आती होती, just listen the con calls of the companies. So each day we have 5, 6 or maybe 10 con calls. You will get the whole detail on the research bite, right? They are doing a wonderful job. Just try to listen con calls of the top leaders of the day. अगर 10 con call है दिन में, 3 सुनो, एशियन पेंट की सुनो और आइशर की सुनो और यू कैन से स्टील कंपनी की सुनो. You will come to know about the 3 sectors that management will speak about the paint industry, consumerism. They will speak, talk about the demand of the steel. They will talk about other peers, what they are doing and what they are internally doing, what expansions are coming up, how they are saving the cost and all. So एक आपको फ्लेवर आएगा. So मार्केट में पैसा कमाने की पहले आपको जरूरी है एक फ्लेवर आना. अगर आपको पास फ्लेवर आ गया कि ओके यस ये मैनेजमेंट ये बोल रही है, ये सेक्टर ये है, तो आगे आने वाला फ्यूचरिस्टिक सेक्टर में ये ग्रोथ आ सकती है, नहीं आ सकती है, कॉशियस अप्रोच है, यू विल कम टू नो देयर एंड दैट. सो फर्स्ट इज अनाउंसमेंट, सेकंड इज कॉन कॉल्स एंड थर्ड इज अटेंडिंग द एजीएम्स. तो अभी तो चलो वर्चुअल एजीएम हो रहा है. सो इफ यू अटेंड सम फिजिकल एजीएम, इफ इट इज नियर योर सिटी और अ टाउन, like that will create a lot of impact. You will meet the management in person, you will meet the other personals, and you will come to know what's going on, what is the tone of the management. So a lot of people I meet or talk to have made a lot of money attending the AGMs. So like I will not say that information is not available openly by the management on the exchanges, but you come to know what's happening, what is the kicker inside it. So these are the three things I captured, and fourth thing which is also available to you online is annual reports. So 4 tools I have told. Annual reports में क्या होगा कि management will talk about the futuristic plans, पीछे उनका क्या हुआ, क्यों लॉस था, क्या करने जा रहे हैं, how the industry is faring, how the industry will fare, and what is the competition threats or the peer threats, whatever the thing is. So you have got all the tools, everything is on your laptop, everything is before you. अगर आपने ये 3-4 चीजों पे फोकस कर लिया, trust me, within 3-4 months you will say okay, I can tell you okay Infosys का इतना रिजल्ट आया था या इतना आएगा. या if you talk about spirit company like Global Spirits, it's trading at 40 EPS और इसका 100 रुपए पे मिल रहा था, 330 हो गया. क्यों हो रहा है? Just listen to the con calls which company did on various news channels, what happened. So this is just an example, I may not be owning that, but you will come to know कि वो अगर ग्रेन से लिकर बना रहे हैं, सबसे सस्ता वो चीज है, तो इसका अगर 6 का EPS कर रही है क्वार्टर का, वो 10 का भी हो सकता है. So this is one example. So ये चीज आ गई एक बेसिक इंग्रेडिएंट्स जो आपको नॉलेज पे आ गया. अभी मैंने आइडेंटिफिकेशन पे नहीं आया कि वो स्टॉक कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करना है मल्टीबैगर्स. ये सिर्फ आपके नॉलेज के लिए बता रहा हूँ कि फंडामेंटल एस्पेक्ट में अगर आपको एबीसीडी फाइनेंस की नहीं पता है तो ये 4-5 चीजें आप करो. अनाउंसमेंट्स, कॉन कॉल्स, एजीएम्स और ये आपका एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स. you will gain a lot of things, I'm telling you. So ये चीज होगी. I started learning with all these things. I went through all this and धीरे you scale up. And then later thing that comes, the thing comes about कि अगला जो kicker है, Vivek will also agree कि मल्टीबैगर कैसे ढूंढना है. लाइक मल्टीबैगर के लिए सिंपल 4-5 चीजें करनी होती हैं. पहले तो हमें देखना होता है सेक्टर कि अगर हम देख रहे हैं कि इंडिया में ओके, लाइक TCS आल्सो टोल्ड कि हम डिजिटल बूम और आईटी बूम एक नया साइकिल स्टार्ट होने वाला है. इट्स लाइक दे टोल्ड इन देयर कॉन कॉल. So you need to identify TCS, though obviously it has run up, or Infosys has run up. You need to identify the smaller companies where the real wealth can be made. There were a lot of companies, like if we talk about one company where EPS maybe at, that was trading at very cheap multiples, maybe 6 or 7. Right now, their multiple has shot up to 20 in last 2.5 months in that euphoria. So you need to be there in that stock. Yes, like example is nuclear software, right? Okay, the company may not be doing well on the top line front, but bottom line was picking up, and they had a good cash reserves. So you need to see कि यार वो बड़ी कंपनी मेरे पास पैसा लेने के नहीं है, छोटी कंपनी में क्या हो सकता है. There are a lot of filters like screeners available in the market. You can scan कि valuation wise कौन सा सस्ता है उसमें. फिर अगर टर्न अराउंड की बात करें तो यू नीड टू सी, अगर वो फिर वहीं पे बात आ गई अनाउंसमेंट्स पे कि अगर ये कंपनी में मैनेजमेंट चेंज हो रहा है, विच इज अ न्यू मैनेजमेंट गेटिंग इन, व्हाट इज देयर पास्ट रिकॉर्ड, व्हाट दे कैन ट्रांसफर, हाउ दे कैन ट्रांसफर द कंपनी. अगर कंपनी में डेट है तो आर दे इंजेक्टिंग मोर मनी, दे आर रेजिंग मोर मनी, एंड कितनी देर में वो टर्न अराउंड कर सकते हैं. सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ एग्जांपल्स दैट हैपेंड बिफोर अस. लाइक मैं एग्जांपल देता हूँ आयशर में मैनेजमेंट चेंज हुआ मैनी इयर्स बैक. 2008 में उनका वॉल्वो के साथ टाई अप हुआ था फॉर ट्रक्स एंड ऑल. एंड आई रिमेंबर ओनिंग दैट स्टॉक एट 240 250 दैट टाइम. सो दैट वाज माय इनिशियल स्टेज आल्सो. तो वो स्टॉक ने, इफ यू टॉक 1-2 इयर्स बैक, 8000% का रिटर्न दिया इन लास्ट 10 years. So that is how the real wealth has made. But this is our stock लग गया था 230 वाला. So you need to identify what changes have like changes are taking place. अभी youngsters में क्या था, बुलेट ले रहे थे लोग, रॉयल एनफील्ड, राइट? Every second college guy was buying the bullet or this. So that was a big apart from the export that they are doing. So that was a big kicker for the stock. So only thing that matters in that Aisha was holding that stock. So nobody, I also didn't had patience at time. I thought, okay, if you have made 10, 15x, 20x, that is fine. But nobody knew that it will go to 32,000 and all. So that time management change happened. Then you need to see if the new generation, second generation is coming, and they are taking the charge from the old generation or their fathers or the parents. What is his qualification, where he can take the company. And in the con calls also you can hear them talking what they are thinking, what their vision is, right? So apart from this, after analyzing all these things, you come to know, okay, agar ek saal mein company mein how much they have walk the talk. अगर उन्होंने जो बोला था उन्होंने कितना किया. अगर if you think कि उन्होंने 30% कर दिया और कोई कर रहे हैं, obviously there is lot of scope in that company, even if it has risen up by 50%, 60%. So these are the basic things I'm just sharing. As Vivek told me that लोग हैं तो बेसिक थिंग पता नहीं. मतलब अगर ये आप स्टडी करोगे कुछ नहीं होता, पूरे दिन में आपने आधा घंटा निकालना है. एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू विद इन 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, obviously experience counts. धीरे धीरे you will do all this half hour घंटे वाला काम, you will scan in just 2 minutes. Economic times you will scan in 1 minute. Announcements you will scan in 2 minutes, right? And whatever the flavor like अभी pandemic में क्या हुआ है, in the last 6 months we were very bullish before the pandemic. Then the depression came. There were talks of depression, recession, and now again we are heading towards a new highs euphoria. So nobody can time the market. But yes, there were some distress stories, stocks which were available at such cheap valuation you could have really gotten if you had money. Yes, if now people come to the talk in terms ki मेरे पास पैसा नहीं था, already पैसा invested था, so उस time पे like when market was 8,000 levels, you could have shuffled the things. Okay, अब labor class सारी अपने गांव में चले गई थी, like there were a lot of migration of labor that happened from the city due to pandemic, or they didn't get any job to the their native villages. So उस case में like obviously agriculture had to take the boom thing. So, tractor sales are all-time high, fertilizer sales boomed, pesticide, insecticides, everything did well in the last 1-2 quarters. So that was the real killer thing. Like you could have made really good money, but only thing is you need to be connected कि क्या हो रहा है, how to sync the things कि वो चीज है, वो बढ़ रहा है, वो लोग वहां गए हैं, प्रोडक्शन बढ़ रही है, उनकी आउटपुट बढ़ेगी, they will get more money. So that is the rural theme picked up. So rural theme is going pretty well, may have peaked somewhat as of now. So उसके बाद आया अभी cars की pent up demand बढ़ी. So everybody thought okay, pandemic के चक्कर I will not go by buses, और जो मारुति ने 1,60,000 गाड़ी बेची अभी. So people are buying new Cretas, new Kias. So trend is shifting. The things are dynamic. Trends are shifting. अभी IT में PE re-rating हुई है. Nobody knew that, but the clues were there from the US market. The clues were there from the local commentary of TCS or Infosys in the last quarter, and obviously margins went up. So अभी एक kicker है market में. People are saying कि we may be overbought, or we may be at highs. Yes, corrections are part of the game. We have US election results and all lined up. But अभी ये है कि now top line of the companies are not picking up, but their margins are improving. Their bottom line is improving due to the cost-cutting measures. They may not be advertising much. They may not be. They may be saving on the travel cost of their employees, right? So when in the next 2 quarters we have the festival season, Diwali, and the next year end will be obviously Q4 is always better for the companies. So there, if there is maybe even a slight improvement in their top line, just think the margins obviously where they will shoot, and the companies may be doing pretty good in the next 2 quarters also. But yes, some cost will come back. Obviously, we can't deny that. But still, there is ample scope in few sectors, few companies. That's it.
So मेरा एक इसमें एक thought है, राकेश भाई, looks like that you are a very top down driven person, जो macro opportunity ढूंढते हैं, उसका कौन सा sector beneficiary है, and then you find out the relevant stock in that opportunity. अगर अपने कोई भी case study लेके अगर we run through that, because my principal question, which is the most important question which everyone would like to answer is to seek an answer is, जब आप बोलते हैं ना स्टॉक महंगा हो गया या सस्ता हो गया, ये कैसे पता लगे और कब एग्जिट करे स्टॉक को? अगर ये क्वेश्चन का आंसर मिल जाए ना, क्योंकि स्टॉक आइडेंटिफिकेशन के अलग अलग तरीके हैं, जैसे टॉप डाउन आपने बताया है, कई तरह से होते हैं कि लोगों को पता लग जाता है किसी के थ्रू, कि कोई नेबर बता देता है, कोई फ्रेंड बता देता है, थीम्स के साथ बता देता है, तो स्टॉक समझ में कई बार आ जाते हैं, और जब घुसते जाते हैं तो समझ में नहीं आता कि ये सस्ता प्राइस है कि महंगा प्राइस है, और जब घुस गया और स्टॉक बढ़ गया तो समझ में नहीं आता कि एग्जिट कब करना। अगर ये क्वेश्चन का आंसर दे दें एक एग्जांपल लेके तो मजा आ जाएगा।
एक तो एग्जिट की मैंने वो बताई यूनिटेक की, उस टाइम एग्जिट मैंने क्यों किया कि there were a lot of IPOs that came or started coming. DLF came, Parsanath came. So float of paper, new paper was coming into the markets that time, right? So it हो रहा था कि everybody is catching on, and now maybe the time that peak of the sector has happened. So that is one clue, जैसे R power आ गया तो एक हो रहा था कि हाँ भाई अब करेक्शन ड्यू है। यस, अभी किसी स्टॉक का टॉप है या बॉटम है, वो हमने कैसे पकड़ना है? Recently, if you talk about the textile sector, right? Textile sector was lying, unnoticed. Nobody was looking at textile sector. You can talk about any stock like Indocount also. But the thing is, the main kicker was happening in China. So a lot of orders from US companies are shifting to India, and their order books, lot of companies' order book is already full. So if you see the recent results of Indocount also, see the turnaround they have done, and so you need to identify कि चल क्या रहा है, पीछे क्या चल रहा है, बैकग्राउंड क्या चल रहा है. अगर यूएस कंपनीज इंडिया को फेवर कर रही है और कंपनीज are lying at very low valuations, so that can be the time you need to give that the time to that stock for at least 1 year or so. But the things change even within a quarter. अभी quarterly result इतना अच्छा आ गया कि the things have changed. So rather than selling it, we will buy more since the outlook is getting more stronger. So in that case, we will add that stock. We will not sell that stock. So now you are right. The most critical part, which I have seen with the human psychology, is selling. People can buy stock at any price, but they don't know how to book. So the thing is, everything is on the paper until and unless we book. I can take you the example of you can say Uniply. So Uniply stock used to be at 10 rupees. So the new promoter came, story started picking up. He was from a top Ivy League college. He was investment banker. He injected money. He raised money. Some good investors came in. That stock went to 300, 400 or levels. But the thing is, in the last 3-4 quarters, the numbers didn't came of Uniply. So that stock crashed. So that was the indication that if you study the quarterly results and you see that nothing is happening on the top line and the bottom line front, so that was a time to exit. You may have exited that $20 stock at 400, 300 or 200. That is your wish. But booking was the key. So this is what happened with the company Uniply, and now the stock is in shambles. I just had a throat infection 2 days back, so
till it's a normal throat infection is fine. I hope कुछ कोविड का चक्कर ना हो जाए.
So और exit की बात करता हूँ कि if you talk about pharma stocks, right? Maybe Aarti drugs, right? The stock was lying for many years at 500, 600, 700 all levels. But right now, after bonus thing, the stock went to 4,000. So that maybe was a ideal level to sell that stock. The stock has already fallen to 3,000. So
मुझे अभी भी ये बात क्लियर नहीं हुई. आरती ड्रग जैसे क्लासिक एग्जांपल है कि कुछ लोगों ने नीचे के भाव पे ले रखा था, जो कॉन्ट्रेरियन प्ले करना चाह रहे हैं कि उनको पता है ये स्टॉक अच्छा करेगा ही तो इसको रखो, और कुछ लोग ऊपर के भाव पे लिया होंगे. अब जीएमएम है जैसे, तो कई रिटेल इन्वेस्टर ऊपर के भाव पे भी लेके बैठे हैं अभी. तो अभी वो सब स्टॉक्स में क्या करेगा? मतलब इफ यू से दैट 2-3 क्वार्टर तक वेट करो, देखो कंपनी वैसे परफॉर्म कर रही है क्या, तो आई मीन 2-3 क्वार्टर अगर परफॉर्म नहीं की तब तो स्टॉक ऑलरेडी नीचे चला जाएगा, तो बेचे कब फिर?
नहीं, वो चीज है कि लाइक I played well in Aarti drugs. I sold even before split and bonus at $2,800. So I thought the valuation was fair. कि अगला growth आता है नहीं आता है, because the product prices or API prices are coming down as told by the company in the con call. So this is what happened. We saw the results on this I think so yesterday only, that profitability has come down from the last quarter. But at $4,000, the if you see about the valuations of the PE multiples, that was crazy. Like pharma may not was getting 10 to 15 PE few months back. Now we are giving 25-30 PE, or people are talking that the stocks will go like this, that. So you have to cut short somewhere. That it's fine. I will book here. So yeah.
थोड़ा सा एक ना थोड़ा बैक सीट जाते हैं. सॉरी राकेश भाई, बीच में इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ. थोड़ा और पीछे चलते हैं. पीई कंसेप्ट के बारे में थोड़ा चर्चा करते हैं, क्योंकि आई थिंक ये सबसे इजीली समझने लायक कंसेप्ट है और काफी बातें इसके अंदर में इन्वॉल्व है. चाहे कोई स्टॉक एक्सपेंसिव बोलना है या सस्ता बोलना है, तो ये आई थिंक रिटेल इन्वेस्टर को भी इसी तरीके से कम्युनिकेट किया जाता है कि देखो पी इसका 80 था तो ये महंगा हो गया, बट 70 का पी भी लोगों को ये अच्छा लग रहा था. तो ये थोड़ा सा लेट्स गेट इनटू द बेसिक्स कि पी है क्या, हायर पी में कब आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहिए कि स्टॉक को बेच दो, अब ये महंगा हो गया है? लोअर पी में कब आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहिए कि ये स्टॉक कब लेना चाहिए?
So in the case of GMM, right, the at 7,000 bucks, like 69 something it touched high, but I remember the stock maybe it it was above 100 PE. So right, people don't see PE at that time. People say okay, visibility of the business, the order book.
हम्म
Like we have HLE and GMM, only the two companies in this sector in India, right? And they will be getting a lot of benefits from the expansion of chemical and the pharma guys expanding in India. So it was their vision. Okay, the stories were floating. Okay, the stock will get more orders next 2 years, this, that. But obviously, at some time you have to stop. At 7,000, there were stories circulating in the WhatsApp groups, social media. This stock will go to 10,000. But you have to see, okay, if I have to find a multi-bagger, I will not find a stock at 100 PE. Whatever the growth may come in later in 3 years, I will find a stock, okay, where I find it is lying at 6, 7 PE or at a market cap which is very smaller. You know, PE may not be criteria, but market cap is the visibility of the company, the products, the management guidance, and whatever they are venturing into. That is a key thing. So PE is one kind of a mental psychological parameter, maybe you can say. So that
हम्म
may not be true with GMM. People may be saying, okay, XPMS is bullish on that. The stock is at 100 PE, and that may go to that may
हम्म
look attractive on FY24 P, EPS. So वो तो
हम्म
extrapolate जितना मर्जी कर लो 4-5 साल बाद या जो भी है. But real money is made when the sector is going to turn around. Simple. I remember Deepak Nitrite, another example. At 104 bucks, if I remember, 102 or 104, they did a QIP, right? And they had a plan to set up a phenol and acetone plant. Obviously, at that time, जो projection था उनका कि 1200-1300 करोड़ तक इनका डेट चला जाएगा. डिले हो गया प्रोजेक्ट तो 1400-1500 करोड़ तक चला जाएगा, राइट? बट द पोटेंशियल ऑफ ठीक है, उनका मार्केट कैप कम था, क्यूआईपी पे उनको ओवर सब्सक्रिप्शन हुआ, धीरे धीरे प्रमोटर आल्सो बॉट 140-150. I remember we entered that stock not at 102 or so, I think 3 years back. So उस टाइम स्टोरी ये थी कि they are making acetone and phenol which is a import substitute, right? अगर वो रिप्लेस कर देता है इंडिया में, which is India is 100% importing as of now, so and catering to a lot of industries. So the kind of volumes, the kind of top line and bottom line they will say will be crazy. The only point that made difference at that time was the execution. So they did very well execution, timely. Okay, plant was delayed for 5-6 months. That was okay. So right now, see the numbers. After the pandemic and before the pandemic, the stock, like before the pandemic, the stock was at 400. Now it touched 900. So it was only the just patience you need for. If you think the multi-bagger or the story will play out in just 1 month, I think so. You need not put your money in the markets. You have to wait. 3 years you can wait. You can wait for the story play out. So another aspect I will just talk with you within these talks is expansion. So announcements में एक और चीज आपको पता लगती है जो critical, हर बंदे का अपना criteria होता है कि which companies are expanding. अगर छोटी कंपनी एक्सपेंशन बड़ा कर रही है and you know the capability of the promoters कि वो कर सकते हैं, the stock can be a really good bagger. The stock can be really good bagger. So you
क्विक
need to trust the
एग्जांपल?
promoter. Like Deepak was one, and second, recently the story is yet to play, but like Aster Industries, Eastern Industries, what we call. So they like at 400 market or capital. So they planned for 500 crore expansion. So the sector is volatile, pricing power we may have, but still the prices are good recently. So they are planning 500 crore expansion. So they gave a very good dividend last quarter. This quarter also they announced the result date and they're paying interim dividend too. So the stock has run up already. 120 तक जाकर आया, 125 तक. बट वो अभी एक्सपेंशन थोड़ा नेक्स्ट ईयर में आएगा, फिर बाकी 2 साल में सारा कंप्लीट होगा. तो यू नीड टू बी हैविंग सम फ्यूचरिस्टिक विजन कि अगर वो एक्सिक्यूट कर लेते हैं. These kind of stocks are PE type of stocks, right? You are putting money. If they perform well, the money will become X for you, 4X, 5X, 6X. So in my philosophy, अगर मेरा 25% कंपाउंडर्स में है, 40-50% मेरा मीडियम टर्म में है, जहां पे मुझे पता है कि आई एम राइट नाउ प्लेइंग द IT स्टोरी और द फार्मा स्टोरी और द एग्रीकल्चर स्टोरी. तो मेरा वो 20% जो पर्सनल रहता है, दैट इज इन PE टाइप ऑफ स्टॉक्स, वेयर आई थिंक अगर मार्केट का 100 या 200, दे आर ऑल स्मॉल, लाइक 300-400 से नीचे ही होते हैं मार्केट कैप, क्योंकि वो पैसा आपका अगर वो एग्जीक्यूट वेल, मतलब दे एग्जीक्यूट वेल, तो कहीं भी जा सकते हैं. सो दैट इज जस्ट पुट एंड थ्रो. द मेन थिंग इज whatever I say to the people is making your first crore of your life is the toughest part. तो अगर हम पीछे वाली बात करें, जर्नी वाले पार्ट पे जाऊं, if you will make that 1 CR from a small capital, you will gain the confidence, you will speak to a lot of people, you will put more effort into studying, not only studying the book of big guys, but studying the balance sheets, studying the announcements, studying the listening to the con calls, AGMs, annual reports. That's it. The whole knowledge is within you. You have to just spare some time, and it will be a kicker in your bottom line.
थैंक यू राकेश भाई फॉर दिस वीडियो. बहुत मजा आया आपसे बात करके. समहाउ पंजाब से जो आते हैं उनमें एक अलग तरह की चेहरे पे चमक होती है और उनकी बातों में अलग तरह की जान होती है. वरिंदर इज अ क्लासिक एग्जांपल. तो बहुत मजा आता है आप लोगों से बात करके.
Thanks a lot, Vivek, and it was pleasure coming here, and whatever I could share, I shared. And anytime anybody is free to speak to me, and my Twitter handle is @r_Laroia.
Okay.
Yeah, one can be in touch. Yeah.
फैंटास्टिक. सो मैंने ट्विटर हैंडल राकेश ने आपको बता दिया है. मैं उनका ट्विटर हैंडल का लिंक भी दे दूंगा नीचे इन केस यू वांट टू कनेक्ट विद हिम. हैव अ ग्रेट life ahead. Stay safe. Happy Navratra. Take care of yourself. Have a great life ahead. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.